Hey, Susan.
Yeah,
Susan, can you hear me?
I can.
Hang on just a second for me, okay?
Okay.
Susan, are you going to have video on, or do you want to just close your lens, or?
How's that? Do you want me to see about sharing that document?
Just a moment, guys. Live stream links going up on the website. Hey, can you two hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me. You hear me, Karen? Okay, excellent. Okay. We're live on YouTube right now. The only thing I'm showing is I just posted the link on the YouTube link on the front page of the website under news and events, but you don't need to pull that up if you're on here. We're going to have them test the mics in just a second. Frank, can I have you test your mic? Okay. Mic 2. Testing, testing, test. on Zoom. Check his email. Yeah, just
I will call the Lee County Board of Education meeting to order, and I will offer our invitation. Please bow with me. Father, we pause to call on you for guidance. You well on all the stages. You adopt that by consent. No, there is a consent agenda. Would you like to address any items on it? Moving on to our discussion items, we have a request to approve to allocate funds.
Yes, sir. This list was supposed to be part of the personnel recommendations in our earlier April regular board meeting. Inadvertently left off the administrative list. The list before you, one change from the earlier list. That's an employee who actually should be listed with the non-certified recommendations next month. And there's a note on that list that you can see that the person's name here will not be getting step increases this year as we begin to work towards the coming economic challenges we're anticipating for the COVID closure. We're going to take steps to make sure we're ready to shoulder those and move forward.
All right, I understand there's some technical difficulties that the audience may not be able to hear our meeting. You get us put up on a Zoom meeting.
And
We're live now.
it's going, yeah,
It's going now.
I got the mic up here, so.
Okay, so just as we make comments, just kind of speak louder so that device there can pick you up. All right. What is the pleasure of the board as it relates to the request to approve the 2020-21 administrative employment list?
I'll move for the list be approved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Passes 5-0. We have a request from the Mr. Haynes to sell a extra school bus. I'm assuming it's beyond repair for us or for good service. It's a 2008 Thomas Freightliner. What is the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
We have a second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Passes 5-0. Dr. Miller, we have a teaching and learning update. Are we ready for that?
I believe we are. I've asked Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Susan Manry, to give the board a brief update on teaching and learning. And we will also have an update from Dr. Karen Hancock, Principal of Lee County High School, regarding plans for graduation. The planning is ongoing there. I know she was on a conference call today with several principals from around South Georgia discussing what they were going to do in terms of graduation. First, we'll hear from Ms. Mary. She has a PowerPoint, and then also is going to speak to us via Zoom. So you ready, Ms. Mary?
I am. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm sharing my screen, and I will keep it brief.
Hold on just 1 minute.
Hold on just a moment. Let's get you up on big screen.
Can you adjust the volume?
Yeah. Yeah. She's good to go ahead. Go ahead, Susan.
Are we ready? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was just going to tell you a little of what all of our teachers and administrators have been doing. And hopefully this will load very quickly. First of all, when we were first out of school, we thought it was only going to be for a couple of weeks. So we changed course in the middle, as you know, based upon the what the governor has put in place, and of course our president. But from the very beginning of this, our teaching and learning plan has, I guess you could say, our motto has been grace over mercy. Obviously, this is unprecedented times, and we wanted to make sure that our students are not in any way going to have negative effects as much as possible as far as grades are concerned and those types of things. So as you can see, some of the major points that we wanted to make sure is that we would still provide our students with online learning aligned to the standards, access to physical content for students that do not have digital access, because as you know, we are finding that is one of the major issues that we are running into in rural Georgia, is just the fact that all of our students do not either have good internet service, or have enough devices. But we also wanted to provide devices for those that did not, provide academic, emotional, and social support. And then, of course, make sure that any decisions regarding retention of students with an IEP would be made by the IEP committee. So to begin with, and I'll share this our Google slide with you all. I have some links in it. But basically, our plan to begin with was a little different. We did packets at the lower levels, primarily at pre-K and primary. And they have since done another packet for students. So it was not just online. It was actual documents that they could do at home, and then the teachers provided online support through Zoom or those types of things. And then of course we had spring break, and then we were waiting for word to find out what was going to happen. And after spring break is when we came up with the second round. And primarily 6 through 12, they've done blended learning where it's online, or I should say elementary through 12th grade. It's been blended online and some performance type tasks that the children could do at home. So I think they have done an exceptional job trying to work with students. They have called students repeatedly during the weeks, checking on them, trying to make sure that they have what they need, and trying to just do alternative grading or alternative assignments as they could. We, of course, laid out some instructional time recommendations. As we went, we learned very quickly that you can't just put a student in front of a computer all day long. It's just not going to work. So this was just some suggested times that as they started working with the kids and realizing certain things weren't working, suggested times for the amount of the assignments and what they need to do. And this is kind of how they're moving forward. Highlights of the learning plans for the remainder of the year. As you know, each principal has sent out letters to the parents and students letting them know about grades. And basically, the online learning is going to continue in the form of resources being given to parents and students to help prepare them for the next grade. And they're ensuring that students are not negatively impacted by COVID-19. And so with that said, there's much more detailed plans or detailed information that went home to the kids. And you can see that in one of the attachments that is linked to this PowerPoint. The main thing for the remainder of this school year is our teachers want to stay in contact with the kids, make sure that they can find out if they have any needs. And we have allowed our schools to be flexible with whatever they need to do as far as communicating with the students and the schedules they need to keep, because I think flexibility is key at this time. They are providing that weekly communication, and they're continuing to reach out. And they are going to try to determine ways to do some of the fun things that we're missing out on. Obviously, we can't be in person, but they're working on Honors Day, Field Day, and you're going to hear from Ms. Hancock or Dr. Hancock on some of the things that they're doing at the high school. I would just like to say that all of our teachers have done an unbelievable job at trying to just meet the needs of the kids. And Miss Beaver, our K-12 instructional supervisor or instructional technology specialist, has been providing one-on-one help with the teachers as well. And I left you with a list of different types of things that either she has shared or we have all shared with our teachers to help them through this time and with our students. And then our teachers have also been involved in professional learning communities throughout this time. Now, those have been a little different because they're collaborating weekly and probably daily with their other colleagues or on their teams and that type of thing, or in their subject areas. But they are still working together, collaborating, trying to determine what the best course of action is. In addition to that, they're doing some online courses that have been provided free to us through Georgia Virtual School. And last but not least, we just wanted to say thank you once again to all of our teachers and staff for all they're doing. So that's brief. Be glad to share this.
Does anybody have any questions? Anyone have any questions for Ms. Manning? Well, thank you very much for that presentation.
You are welcome.
Dr. Hancock, are you still on those?
He's muted.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. You go right ahead.
Good evening. How are y'all today?
Good evening.
So thank you for letting me speak with all of you today. Just wanted to give you a brief update on graduation and life at the high school. We've been speaking with many of our stakeholders over the last month, students, parents, community. I've got a bad echo. I just want to make sure y'all are okay. We recently posted a Google survey asking for input from our stakeholders, looking for opportunities to celebrate the success of our seniors. Today, I was involved in another meeting with principals across the state. We're all struggling with how to make sure that we're celebrating and not missing this opportunity. The most common verbiage centered around the need for closure in May. We have a lot of students, even in our Google survey, the results showed that a lot of our students are moving forward. So one of the things that we are looking at is a virtual graduation to air that night of the noted graduation date and time. But we're also looking for other avenues to celebrate with the students. We have a couple of things that we're trying to organize, and then we'll be glad to, share with all of you thoughts.
All right. Anybody have any questions about our Hancock?
I do, Dr. Hancock. This is Dawn Ford. I know that Channel 55 comes out of Cordele, and that's a local channel. Has that been a consideration at all? And I'm talking about from the aspect, you would probably have to do something as far as pre-recording the valedictorian and the speech that they give, as well as the salutatorian. But one of the thoughts is to take the senior pictures and to have, that individual displayed on the screen when the name is called. Are those some of the possibilities that you all are thinking about?
Oh, yes, ma'am. That's a great question. So Fox 31, I actually have a Zoom conference tomorrow at 2 with Fox 31 and our graduation committee. Obviously, the speeches are a part of that conversation. We have created an email account for our seniors. We've been sending that out weekly in our newsletter. They are submitting pictures of their cap and gowns because we did go ahead and do a Jostens pickup several weeks ago. So they've been flooding us with pictures. They've been telling us where their plans are. And so we've been posting some of that on our social media, but we do plan to use those pictures. We've also had a conversation about setting up times and letting seniors come into the auditorium, 5-10 minute increments, but with 500 students, that's a week's worth of setting up meetings. So we are still watching the guidance from the state and from the local community before we make any final decision of the best way to do the virtual, but virtual, taping them as they walk across the auditorium stage just by themselves with maybe just their parents there all the way through picture selection. It's just some of the safety things that we've got to work through before we make that decision.
And I appreciate you doing that. I know, the name is so important. It's so important to the parents to have their child's name said. And I know Dave Lottenberger does that each year, and he does a tremendous job. I know that, that this particular class has missed events that have been very difficult for them kind of emotionally to overcome just because it's their senior year. And, I just, I have a lot of feelings because I know that it's very difficult to be a senior and to have all of this go on and to not be able to participate in certain things. So I do appreciate what you're doing. I just want to do as much as we possibly can for these students to make it, memorable for them. And thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. We are in constant conversations about how to make sure that the seniors have a moment unlike any other group. And so we don't want to do just a virtual thing where we put their, we put their picture up. That is obviously something that we're considering just because we don't know what's going on, what will happen in 10 days now that they're releasing. And so we do have kind of a thought pattern that goes based on, all the way extreme to as safe as we need to be. So I'm being kind of vague, but We have about 5 different scenarios. We're just waiting to see what happens over the next few days, but we hope to be able to report something that will excite this senior group.
And it was tremendous, you know, I mean, to go to the Civic Center and to see all those kids walk on stage. And I realize we can't do that, but, you know, it is such a special moment. It's such a special moment for them. So thank you for considering all the things.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Hancock. Please let us know what our role will be, if any.
Absolutely. You know, I always have a job for everybody. So yes, sir.
All right.
Well, we do want to make sure we celebrate and give them a chance to have closure in a way that honors the students. Dr. Hancock has some really good thoughts. As she said, it's just a matter of the logistics of how can people be together and when can they be together. So their group is working hard.
All right. Anything else on the agenda to discuss for us?
That's all we have tonight. Certainly, if there's something else that the board related to teaching and learning, which is what we do, that we need to discuss or you want to hear more about, we can certainly.
Anything any board members like to ask? Trey?
I would just like to say a few words. I think I've been very pleased with the way the teachers have performed through this thing, with my kids especially. I think it's unprecedented. I'd like them to know that I'm happy, proud of them. I also think we can learn from this. You know, I think as you spoke before, digital learning is going to be something for the future. If we can't hire teachers, if we have storms, but they can't get to school. So I think we can learn a lot from this opportunity. But I just wanted to go on and tell all the teachers, staff, and all of you guys how proud I am. I mean, I can't speak for every family, but I haven't had any complaints. I've had nothing but good things said about it. And y'all did that pretty quickly. You got that rolling pretty quickly. So.
The effort has been put forth. I can tell you, my students, my kids, well, I mean, I know every teacher has reached out to them individually. Wyatt has a conference with one of his teachers even tomorrow on Zoom at noon. So it's been amazing to watch what everybody in the system has been able to pull off so quickly, change the way we educate, change the way we just interact, change the way we even feed students. It's been an amazing effort, and I applaud everyone involved.
I agree.
I've done a really good job. I've heard some teachers now between 9 and 11 times. That's basically parents. So they're working 12-hour shifts. That takes a lot of dedication on their part.
So I'd like to see, like, when it's all said and done, you know, what kind of data, how it turned out, you know, how these kids performed. I know it's going to be easy on certain areas, but I mean, some may thrive in these conditions, some may not. I feel my kids, somebody has been in contact with them multiple times. I'm happy with that.
All right. Any other questions, comments from the board?
If I may say, Mr. Griffin, reference feeding, our feeding program will restart tomorrow. First, I'd like to thank First Baptist Church of Albany for making and donating masks so that our volunteers and food service workers can be safe. We will be giving out 10 meals at a time, 1 day a week, beginning Wednesday, from 11 to 1 at Lee County Middle School West. And what's very different this time from what we've done before is we've got new federal guidelines. Before, the student had to be present to get a meal, and that was hard on families, especially people working and getting all their kids together to bring them there. Some were very young children, or some children with special needs, or just simply unable to physically be present. So the difference this time will be that the parent can come through the line and say, I have 3 children at home, and they will receive meals, 5 lunches and 5 breakfasts for each of the children. And we encourage parents to take advantage of this. We're excited that our food service staff has worked hard to get ready to begin feeding again.
I think that's a need that our system has certainly recognized before this, but I think this crisis has opened the eyes to a lot of other leaders and citizens of our county as to the level of need we have. Anything else? Hearing none, I will say that we are adjourned. Thank y'all for participating.